Why is the World Cup important? A new nation rising up on the world scene, new talent being discovered, a new team being crowned world champion. The whole world is watching the greatest sporting event of all time, anticipating who's going to be the champion. Why is the World Cup important? Well, the World Cup is important because the world is watching. The World Cup is important because it is a strategic moment for the churches of Jesus Christ. We can use this moment, we can leverage this moment so that the nations come to know Jesus. You know, when we look in the Bible, we see that God designed large gatherings of people to be used strategically to spread his glory to all people. We see this in the Old Testament. God designed 3 annual festivals where all of God's people would journey to Jerusalem to celebrate God's salvation of his people from slavery in Egypt and to celebrate God's current provision of his people. But these moments weren't just supposed to be moments of celebration for God's people. They were designed by God to be evangelistic moments so that the nations would come to know Jesus. We see this when Solomon dedicates the temple in 1 Kings chapter 6. He prays that these events would be used so that the glory of God spreads to all people. Well, we see the same thing in the New Testament. We learn in John chapter 7, one of these annual festivals, the Feast of Booths, we see Jesus travel to Jerusalem, not just to celebrate past salvation, current provision, but we see Jesus doing exactly what Solomon prayed that people would do. We see that Jesus goes to Jerusalem to proclaim the kingdom of God, and people get saved. Yes, in John chapter 7, the religious elite opposed Jesus, but it also says that many people begin to follow Jesus. We see the same thing after Jesus' ascension into heaven with Pentecost. Roughly 50 days after Jesus was crucified on the cross, we see Peter proclaiming boldly so that thousands of people come to know Jesus on that first Pentecost after the resurrection of Jesus Christ. It's not just a party of salvation from slavery in Egypt. It's not just a celebration of current provision. It is a celebration that Jesus has resurrected, and thousands of people come to know him. Well, we see Paul do the exact same thing. When Paul's in Corinth for 18 months, he leverages this moment at a moment where there's a biannual pan-Hellenistic event called the Isthmus Games. And Paul goes there with his ability to make tents, to create structures, and he uses this moment again to proclaim the gospel. You know, when we look in the Bible from the Old Testament to the New Testament, we see that God designed large gatherings of people to be used to spread his glory. And when we look at our forefathers in the faith, when we look at people like Moses and David and Solomon, and when we look at people like Jesus and Peter and Paul, we see that they're all leveraging these moments to do something spiritual. And that's what we want to do at this World Cup. You know, there'll be roughly 6 million visitors to North America. The world is coming to us. And FIFA is estimating that there'll be 5 to 6 billion, yeah, that's right, with a B, billion online impressions created because of the World Cup. You know, the glory of somebody is going to spread because of this event. And I think it's just the question of whose glory. Is it going to be the glory of Lionel Messi or a soccer federation? Is it going to be the glory of a new talent bursting onto the football scene? Well, our hope at the Yellow Card Initiative is that it's going to be the glory of Jesus Christ. We hope that we can leverage this strategic moment to spread the glory of God to all people, and we hope that you'll be involved with us.